Howdy guys, welcome back to BRG Photography. My name is Ben, and as you can see, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I figured for Halloween it would be cool to do a cosplay photo retouch, so we're going to be working on this photo I took of a friend of mine. And we're mainly going to be looking at doing some background corrections and also fixing up the costume, doing some costume repair, and then in the end we'll do a little bit of makeup touch-ups and stuff like that. So should be fun. So let's just jump right in, shall we? Alrighty, so this should be fun. So this video is going to be broken up into two parts. The first part we're going to be fixing up the background, and in the second part we're going to be doing costume repair and some makeup touch-ups. So let's just go ahead and get started. So I think a lot of people sometimes don't pay attention so much to the background, and the background is a really important part of your image. And if you have distracting things in the background, it takes away from what you want people to see. So looking at this image right off the bat, I can find some really distracting things in the background. Normally your eye is going to go immediately to the brightest part of an image, and as we can see here, we've got this speaker grill which is really bright. We have this other really big speaker cone that's kind of a really bright off color, and even this thing at the top of her head, this I think this little speaker bit is kind of distracting, and there's a few other kind of little nicks and scratches in the wall. I also like symmetry when I can, and so I'm probably going to repair this bit here, like actually fill in so it looks like it's a continuous thing and not this black bit there. So let's just go ahead and start repairing some of that. I'm going to show you how I do it. And also this, if we get a chance, I'm going to fix this dome here and kind of smooth it out so it doesn't look punched in. And we've got a little sticker down here that we want to erase, and I think that should be okay. So we're going to do that, and then in the next video we will actually going to the costume, which is going to be a bit more intensive and take a bit more time. So let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer. So first thing, I like to make a brand new layer, and using my inpainting brush tool, just because it's really easy, set it to current layer and below, and just go ahead and first find a few little things that I want to get rid of. Now these are really small, but it takes 2 seconds just to kind of get rid of these nicks here. Stuff on the floor, and these are really minuscule things, but it's just things that I like to just kind of clean up. Something that can do a really quickly clean up some of this stuff. There's a lot of things here in the costume, but we'll get to that in part 2 of the video where we're actually cleaning up the costume, but nothing too major. Even like this big smudge, we can maybe smooth that out a bit. These little scratches, this scratch here on the speaker. I don't know. For me, I feel like the background is an equally important part of your image, and if you've got little things that are in the background that distract your eye, it just takes away from what people should be looking at. So I do often spend a lot of time fixing little corrections in the background, just things that kind of distract me. And then all right, so that's a quick little touch up there. Let's correct this speaker really fast. This will be pretty easy. It looks like the flash or whatever hit the speaker grill at a weird angle, causing this weird reflection, or the inside is white, I can't remember. So all I'm going to do is really quickly, I'm going to grab my marquee tool. We'll just grab the elliptical marquee tool, and I'm just going to come over here, and if I can get a good angle, something like that. I'm going to move this a bit here, and I'm just going to select this bottom speaker. I'm going to press Command J to duplicate that. I'm going to then press Command D to deselect it. I'm going to switch to my pointer tool, and now I've got this thing, and I'm just going to move it, boop, right there. Doesn't have to be perfect because no one's paying attention, and that's fine. And if I really wanted to, I can come in here, and you can see the color is a little bit different, but I can maybe come in here and so say erase some of it. If I erase too much, I'm going to get that original speaker grill. And if I felt the size was a bit wrong, maybe I can come and just like make it a bit bigger. If I want to really match it up, I can lower the opacity and just see like how well it's matching up. And it looks like it's matching up pretty decent. Okay, and then yeah, come in, maybe just erase some of erase some of this little extra stuff. But yeah, I think that looks okay. Like nobody's gonna, and yeah, I can see here it's not exactly where I want it to be, but that's okay. I can come up here and just smooth that out over there. Perfect. And you know, if you've got a really nice image, people shouldn't be looking at this anyways, but there you go. Speaker done. All right, let's look at, since we're in this area, let's go ahead and fix this part here. So all I'm going to do, same, is I'm going to actually take a clone stamp tool. I'm going to do that to current layer and below. And I basically want to mirror this side to have it go that way. So using my clone stamp, I'm just going to grab something like that. Actually, you know what? Let's grab from this part. I'm going to have my flow to 100, and let's do hardness set to 100% as well. And I'm just going to look at kind of getting it to line up so it's all going across this way. And just going to do something like this. And we'll blend this in a little bit better, or a little bit nicer in a second, but I just want to kind of get the gist. All right, that's that side. Let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to actually grab maybe from here, and I'm going to go, no, let's not do that. Let's grab them down here. We'll do the same thing. Just kind of do something like that. And then if we go over there, this is a bit too much. Now that that's kind of roughly where I want it, we can start cleaning it up a little bit. Now we can bring our flow down to say like 7%, and then we can start using our low flow to kind of blend things in a bit better. So they just blend in a little nicer. We can see like this colors are a bit different, and we can just fix that. And you know, it's not gonna be perfect, but I think that's gonna be okay. If I really wanted to, let's just go ahead and get this really looking the same. Something like that. There you go, look at that. Those two things that were a bit distracting already, that basically just by not having this white speaker grill, I've really just redirected the eye to her face. This bright yellow thing is also quite distracting, so I think what I want to do is knock it down a bit. I want to kind of lower the intensity of that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a curves, and we're going to pull it down just to lower this, and we're going to make sure we put these curves over our adjustments. So, and then let's go ahead and invert that. And just using our paintbrush, we're going to go to white paintbrush to fill in or open up this mask so we can reveal the adjustment layer underneath. And I'm just going to come in and paint this a bit darker. Let's get in here close and maybe paint some of this. Now I can come in here and adjust it, the intensity, once I've kind of roughly got it painted in, and you can come in and fix things with a mask. So that's kind of the cool thing about masks, is you don't have to be perfect on your first pass, because you can come in, use a black color to refill it in, and maybe I will drop my flow down to kind of maybe blend in those parts a bit. All right, we'll do that. All right, now let's take a look here. It's not perfect, so we'll just kind of maybe fix this a little bit. Another thing is, it's good to kind of actually go a bit darker than you need to, because it's going to make it a lot easier for you to see like your corrections. Now let's go ahead and switch to a black brush and bring the mask back over here where we went too far. And I guess here I could actually go to 100% flow. So we're just doing like it's so. Now this is way, way too dark, but we'll just fix it in a second. I just want to get a rough idea of where I have painted. And then you can see. Then, you know, you switch back. I'm pressing the X button to switch between my white and black. It's a little shortcut. It's a default shortcut. And just come back here now with the white, painting the adjustment back in. And basically something like that. You can be as careful with this as you want. I think I would suggest when you're doing it and you get all your time, take your time, but I'm just kind of doing it pretty fast for this video, just so you have an idea of how it works and what I'm doing. Let's make that That looks cool. Now let's go back and actually let's smooth out this part here. Let's switch to a black and kind of low flow and try to blend that in a bit nicer. All right, now let's open up our curves and bring it back to a little bit more normal. This is before, this is nothing. It's a bit too bright. Let's just drop it down a little bit. We'll say something like that. And one thing you'll notice is that when you use the curves to drop stuff down in darkness, notice how much more saturated these colors became. And I don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch this from normal to luminosity. And you're going to notice that when you go to luminosity, it doesn't affect the saturation of your image. So if we go back and I show you normal, you can see how bright orange that is. And if I go back to luminosity, you can see it's really dulled the color. So that's going to really help. I think just kind of takes a little bit of a distraction from there. And you know, you can tweak this to taste. Maybe you like that little bright part, so maybe I'm bringing it up a little bit, but just enough where it's not completely making my eye go down to that area. There's this little sticker here. We can, let's just, same thing, do a quick little clone stamp tool. Let's start off full flow, and here I like to use the mouse because that's a bit more precise when I'm trying to line up lines like this. So all I'm going to do is just try to line up the lines here and just go straight across. And it's not going to blend in perfectly the first time, but that's okay. That's why we've got different flow levels, and you can just come and just keep resampling the same area. For stuff like this, I don't think you have to be as careful because, you know, hopefully no one's going to be paying attention to some random little, I guess this is a light. I guess this is what is lighting up the speaker, lighting this stuff up. So I think you're okay. You can get a little sloppy. Now, after I have that, we can go ahead and switch to, where are you? The healing brush tool. Make sure that is also set to current layer and below. And then this is going to help blend the two things together a little nicer. So we're just going to kind of go through this a few times. Maybe same with here. Because the healing brush is looking at your source and your target, and it's trying to like blend the two together nicely. And that usually is a great little thing. So I'll go over it once with the normal clone stamp, and then if I need to like smooth things out like that, using the healing brush. It's gonna probably get a bit weird here with that screw, so maybe we'll just take that out. Maybe just take this out completely. Oops. Sample from here. We'll take that screw out. All right, that was messing with the healing brush tool. And then let's switch back to healing brush and see if we can just kind of get these lines looking decent. And you come same thing down here. All right, I think that looks okay. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but I think you get the idea. And you know, if you're doing it for yourself, spend as much time as you want to get it perfect, but you get the idea. And I think, you know, no one's looking down there. It looks like a little shadow. It's a bit darker than it needs to be. If I wanted to maybe kind of brighten up that area, what do? Easiest way, out of curves, maybe just brighten it up a little bit and paint on that curves. Oops, paint on that curves with a white brush. We'll do a low flow, and you can just kind of paint over that just to brighten it up a little bit. Oops, oh, first invert it and then paint over it. And that's gonna kind of get it white, like so. Yeah, fine, that looks good, perfect. Alrighty, let's take a look at this thing up here. We've got this white frame around this, like, I don't know what that is, that inner cone that's on speakers. Let's just start with something really simple. My favorite, the painting brush, and let's just see how well it does just by doing little bit by little. It might actually do pretty good. We will have to repair this black part, but that's okay. It might get a bit weird when it gets near her hair. I think it's going to, so I'm gonna have to manually do this with the clone stamp tool, but let's see. Let's see how good it does. Oh, it didn't do too bad actually. All right, so most of it's okay. Now we have to come in here with the our manually clone stamping. I'm gonna do the same thing just really quick. We're gonna start over here. Let's actually do a lower flow, lower hardness, and kind of just manually paint this in. And we're gonna do something similar like that sticker where this side's obviously a lot darker. So we're just gonna try to like blend it in there somewhere in the middle so it kind of looks like a nice transition. And we've got some repeating patterns here. We can kind of fix that just by sampling from different areas here and there and doing that. And you notice as you do this a lot, you're gonna notice you start to lose some of this noise that's kind of natural from the file. We can easily just bring that back by adding a noise filter and just putting some digital noise over it to kind of hide the fact that this has been like done. But actually it looks all right. From this distance it looks fine. Let's just try to blend this in a little more. And maybe this top part. And that looks cool. So I'll tell you what, you see how now it's really, see how smooth it is right here compared to like something like this area where it's really grainy and noisy. And you can see here it's been really smooth. That's because we're doing such a low flow with a low hardness. It's kind of trying to smooth things out, but that's fine for now. What we're gonna do, I'll show you how to add some noise to that when we get to this part. But you could not even add anything to it and no one's gonna notice or pay attention. So as you can see, what we've done so far is we have eliminated these distractions. Just by having these things gone, we've now, it refocuses our attention on her, which is exactly what we want. We don't want our eye going to this thing or asking what's that thing on her head, or hey, that speaker cone's punched in, it's really bright, it's distracting me. No, we're taking that out. So we do need to now fix this thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and make a brand new layer just for this. And this is gonna be a little bit harder because we're gonna actually have to rebuild this speaker cone and kind of paint it back in. So the easiest way I think I'm gonna do is I'm just going to start with the clone stamp tool. And I know that if I would just draw it really quick, I can draw what I'm thinking here. Go to paintbrush, black, can't do this. So basically I know this shadow is gonna have to kind of continue this way. And then this brighter area is going to kind of come a bit like here. And then this mid-tone is going to kind of come across. And then we might actually have some more of this like in there. So something kind of like that shape, which is really ugly, but let's see if we can do a pretty good job. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Stamp tool. And I'm just going to try to follow this line here. Oops, it's a little too big. Yeah, see, when you go fast you start making all kinds of little mistakes, so sometimes just go slow, enjoy the process. Like I actually do enjoy this, so you know, have fun with it, just take your time, but don't spend too long on it. But actually, let's just do this. This is going to be pretty easy. Just paint all that. Okay, and what I want to do is I'm going to do one side of it, and then I should be able to mirror or flip the clone stamp tool to kind of mirror the other side, and then that should kind of get me really, really close to where I want to be. So let's do something like that. We've got about half of it done. Oops. We've got about half of it. All right, and now I'm going to come over here to flip. I'm going to say horizontal, and I'm going to just sample from about right here. And as I go, as I come this way, you see it's moving out. And so this is going to basically kind of mirror that. Alrighty, and now if we back it up, it actually looks really good right now. So I got kind of lucky there. So all we gotta do now is just basically touch up some of these little parts. Let's bring our flow down a bit, and then let's just kind of, let's just touch up some of these bits here. try to get, and let's actually put our flow back, our flip back to none. And maybe just kind of come in here and try to like mix up some of these. You can see these repeating patterns here. Shouldn't be too hard. If we keep our flow really low, we can kind of blend stuff in kind of nice. And this is quite dark, so again, you could use the healing brush because it's going to help blend things together, but I feel like the healing brush is going to smooth things out too much. And I do want to kind of keep a little bit of this noise detail texture that's on the speaker here. But you can see we've kind of got like this little, you can see this, these are all repeating patterns. So I'm just going to come in here and just kind of grab some of the main ones that I see that are bothering me and just kind of fix them. And I'm just basically going to sample from somewhere else and just go over that. And that should kind of hide that these are patterns are being repeated here. This is just a quick, simple fix, but I think it is quite effective. Let's see if we can blend these together a bit nicer. Yeah, I think this looks really good. There you go. I mean, it could look a million times better, but I think it's pretty nice. If I really wanted to come and really get arty with it, I can come and create a dodge and burn layer. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll do a curves layer. Let's do one that's going to be dodge. And then maybe another one that's going to be our burn. Invert that. I forgot to invert that one. This will be burn. And just like we've done in all our previous videos, we'll grab a white paintbrush and with a low flow, and we can come in here and do a little shading. So maybe I feel like this part needs to be, oops, let's get our brush here. This part needs to be a little brighter. We can, on my dodge layer, come in here, and that's going to brighten that up a bit. Maybe this needs to come like that. And then maybe burn, if I feel like, okay, this burn needs to come a little more down here. Maybe burn the edges a little bit. Something like that. And maybe this dark patch I don't like. And let's kind of smooth that out. And here, that can go dark. This is also going to help to hide some of these repeating patterns that come up. And I think that looks pretty good. There you go. There. I don't think anybody would question that that looks odd or that looks fake. You do sometimes have to be an artist when you are doing these kind of repairs, because you have to basically understand how light falls on a 3D object. And if I'm assuming that this thing down here is a light, which is going to be its only light source, that this light is coming from the bottom, it's hitting here, so it should be brighter around this area. And the shadow, because it's a dome, should be kind of coming around this. So yeah, you do just got to play with it and just keep tweaking it till you think it looks good. Now let's add a little bit of noise, because we did lose some of this texture here, but not too much. So I'm going to come down to our live filters, and we're just going to add noise. Pretty straightforward. And let's go ahead and just add a bit of noise here. I'm going to add maybe like 10%. Then the cool thing with live filters is you can invert it. And just like we do with everything else, we just paint it back in. So I'm going to actually use a full flow 0% hardness and just kind of paint in some noise here. And that's a bit too much, obviously. So then we can actually come and lower the flow, invert to our black, kind of maybe blend it back in a little bit. And then we'll lower the intensity. Let's actually bring some of that back, something like that. And then we can just kind of lower the opacity so it looks maybe a bit better. And we'll do the same thing up here. I said we'd add some noise, so I'm just going to come to this area especially, and using my white, just kind of paint in a little noise here. And yeah, the noise texture is different, but I think this size is going to be fine. Alrighty, so it looks like we have fixed up mainly a lot of this background stuff. Just so we went from here to there. And again, like, background is really important, because if you've got things that are distracting, it just takes away from your whole image. So this is going to be the end of this first video, and in part 2 we're going to come in here and we're going to actually go through and fix all this stuff, do some touch-ups on the makeup, which actually are okay, and maybe do some pretty drastic costume repair. So that should be fun. Be on the lookout for that, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2. Bye.